Hey, Miles here, milesbecker.com. And in this video, I'm so excited to share an interview with you. I have a friend on video chat that we're going to get down and dirty into what it takes to grow a YouTube channel and how to grow a real estate business through digital marketing and YouTube. So first and foremost, Christina, welcome to the channel. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Awesome. And Christina Smallhorn is a real estate agent in Louisiana. She started YouTubing probably about 2 years ago. And ultimately, the goal here is, again, twofold, the YouTube side and the real estate side. So Christina, would you mind rewinding about 2 years before you made your first YouTube video? Where were you? What's your life like? Your family situation? How long have you been an agent for? Give us that like catch up before you even started in this path and let us know where you were then.
Okay, so before I even started the whole video thing, I just decided I had actually had a really bad transaction with some clients, and it put me in a place where I wasn't even sure if this was the career path I wanted to do for myself anymore. And I'm like, what am I going to do with my life? What am I doing with myself? And I was probably in a pretty bad place. I was questioning everything I had been doing, and I felt like I was really lost. And you know what's so really funny is I found a Gary Vee video, and he was like basically saying, shut up, grow up and do it. I was like, okay, I need to stop being a baby and I need to do something. What can I do to get myself found? I mean, it's like, there's so much noise of like all these things you can do, but like this guy did it. And I was like, no one else is doing videos. I mean, everybody has a cute meme or a blog. And I was trying blogging, but I'm not much of a writer, but I don't mind making a fool out of myself. So that first year I started making videos. I was kind of just using YouTube as a dump, really. Like I would put them on YouTube. I spent a little bit of time, but I didn't really understand the YouTube aspect of it. And then, and I was putting them on Facebook, and I was getting a ton of traction on Facebook. I was like, wow, this is fantastic. The algorithm changed. You could not do like videos over 4 minutes. They were not pushing them out. Like the 60,000 views I was getting and a lot of attention, and, clients were finding my videos on Facebook wasn't the same, because my videos were too long, and I just couldn't do my videos shorter, not what the message I wanted to get across. So I was like, well, what's with this YouTube thing? And then I ran across this guy named Miles Beckler, and and he was talking about SEO and stuff like that. So I just started following your videos, and actually you're the first person that actually taught me how to do a Facebook ad. That was the first time I ever saw one of your videos, is you actually physically walked us through how to create a Facebook ad. And I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. And because I started, getting a lot better with my Facebook ads because of watching the videos. And I'm like, there's something to this. Because if this guy who I don't know can show me how to do this and do it right, and no one else in my area can do it, then I'm going to do something on YouTube that no one else is going to do it. And I'm going to show them how to do it right.
Bingo. That's awesome. So at first, Facebook was actually like working really, really well with the
Loved
medium.
it.
And then their algorithm changed, and you were like, but I like the medium, therefore YouTube is probably a better place to focus with my energy, because their algorithm is a little bit better long-term rewarding.
Exactly. Because the one thing I did notice, even though I wasn't really trying that first year, is that because of the way I titled the videos, that my videos were ranking on Google. And I started getting a few leads from that, and that actually turned into really good sales. I got a guy from Utah that was like, if you're going to do a video every week about your area, you obviously know it.
Exactly. Right. Like you're proving your expertise through the actions that you're taking day in and day out.
So yeah. And after that first year, after I got those few sales on pretty good sized, substantial homes, it clicked with me.
Right. You get the reward, right? We get that actual little reward comes in. It's like, okay. The check shows up and you're like, this came from a random dude who hit me up from, I mean, how many states away is Utah? That's like at least 12 states away.
Right. And then the lady from Germany, she was in Germany. She was moving here because her husband's in the military, and she found me through YouTube. So I was like, if those people from around the world can find me because of a YouTube video, and I started laying out how many people actually called me from Facebook and how many leads I got from Facebook, and actually the money that I spent into Facebook. And I'm like, I've been doing YouTube for free, and I got better quality leads than I did with Facebook, and I was paying for it.
Boom.
So I was like, no one else is doing it. So if you actually type in Ascension Parish Realtor and you in Google search under the videos tab, I'm the only person that's there. There's a few other people that are on there, but I pretty much own 16 pages of it. No one else is doing it.
That's awesome. So real quick, so Ascension Parish, Louisiana, it's between Baton Rouge and New Orleans. So tell, how big is the community? How big of a town is it?
Give us a not very big. It's like 120,000 people or something like that. It's, you know, it's good enough, you know, like we have a lot of new construction that comes in here. Our public schools, Louisiana is notorious for terrible public schools, but our particular little pocket has really good public schools. Both my daughters have gone through the public schools. My one daughter is in high school and she is actually in the pre-college plan. So she actually will be graduating high school with a 2-year degree. So,
wow.
I mean,
awesome.
The public schools here really are good.
So is your location commutable to those other communities? Are there people who, is it one of those bedroom community type situations?
Yeah, this is a family, you know, like a lot of families come out here because of the schools, and it's definitely driving distance. It's only like 15 minutes to Baton Rouge just to get to the line. My parents actually live on the Ascension Parish Baton Rouge line, and it's about 45 minutes to get to New Orleans. So if you want to go for Mardi Gras and enjoy the New Orleans lifestyle, go out there, you know?
Yeah, totally. So it's great to get an idea. So you're pretty much in a suburb or near some major metros, but your actual town that you're really, like you said, clogging up the search engines with your content is actually a really small town, like 100,000, 125,000. That's a pretty small town. How long were you how long have you been doing real estate, and have you been do you focus on both sides of the transaction, buyer's agent and a listing agent, or have you always focused on one side? What's the little background on like
I was
the
a
professional
buyer.
side?
Yeah, I was a buyer's agent where I represented mostly buyers for the first, I'd say, 8 years.
Okay.
And that has shifted now because all those buyers have now turned into sellers.
Got it.
So now I actually have a buyer's agent that works under me. Her name is Gladys Smith. She's really nice. She just started. I began trading her, and then my friend Sandra Richard, and now I kind of like trade her off as a buyer's agent. So yeah, and I think that's the best way. I'm actually going to do a video about this, but about dual agency and how it really is an unfair thing for the consumer.
Yes.
It's unfair to represent both sides. I mean, I know I felt like I'd done it fairly, but I can see how that could be a very blurred line. So
well both, you know, and for those listening who maybe don't know, I actually went to real estate school and I've had a broker's license as well. So she's saying if you represent the seller and the buyer on one deal, there's a little bit of a conflict of interest because, you know, one side wants it cheaper and one side wants to maximize their price, and you're finding that middle ground. There is a way to do it ethically, and it happens all the time, but I think it's great to silo it out. So now, in the real estate world, also for people who don't know, generally speaking, and your state may be a little bit different, there's like an agent level and then there's a broker level. And the agents usually have to work under a broker, and the broker gets a little bit off of each transaction the agents do, but the broker is responsible for all the transactions of the agents. So are you fully an agent right now? Are you starting your own brokerage? How's that relationship and situation working?
I actually like looked into the idea of just being on my own and being my own broker because I can do everything myself. I do it anyway. But I work for a large company. It's called eXp Realty. And it was a small company when I started, and it has exploded exponentially because of the fact that it is very technology based. It was thinking the way I could think, and I was being able to collaborate with other people that were on the same thought process as I am. And then it's like grown so much that like because of my YouTube channel, I get a lot of referrals. So I'm able to refer those out to other agents within my company that I've connected with one-on-one. And then on top of it all, they have a downline system where like if somebody signs under me, I get a small portion of their commissions as well. So it all works out for me in a better way than me trying to run my own company, trying to get this technology to run for myself and pay for all those things. The technology fee for my company is very small. So,
and for those listening, and the reason of my questioning in this is, you know, you're now playing a game, the YouTube game that has the potential for scale, like massive amounts of scale, and your business model that you're working within has the ability for you to generate more leads than you can handle, and without having to go through all the BS of being a broker, you still have the ability to farm them out, to bring in sub agents, to kind of work with that to maximize the return on your energy investments in the YouTube side.
Right.
Brilliant. So one other question I want to go to, your lifestyle, your family, how much time did you have 2 years ago? Again, when you were just getting started, like, so you've been an agent for at least 6 years before that, from what I heard. I know you're married, you got kids, you mentioned, like what was your lifestyle like? Because carving out the time, within a busy life to start going off and doing YouTube stuff, like how did that fit into your life and how did you deal with that?
I just felt like, because my kids already liked YouTube, and I'm like, well, I'll just throw them into the mix, like I'll make them part of my videos. And, I think it's important for people to see that I am a family person, and that, like, we love this whole hustle and grind lifestyle. Like, this is a thing now, but I think it's good to kind of bring it back down and bring your family involved. So that way it isn't so like, I have to work, bleed from your eyes, work, work, work. I just didn't want that for my kids to see that. I want them to see that, yes, you do work, but you can have fun at the same time too. It doesn't have to be, like, 4 o'clock in the morning, crying.
Yep. Totally. And that's smart. You're like being aware of what your family thinks, what your kids are seeing, right? You're a role model, but then also when the people in Germany and Utah and even your local folks see you with your kids on your videos, because you've had your kids on several videos, like it builds the relatability, right? Like you said, it's a family area. So that's really powerful. And then your husband, he's in some of your videos as well, correct?
Yes. Yep. We, I have them. He can't deliver a line, so you only see the back of my husband's head.
That's awesome.
He has this one character. As a matter of fact, I have a sticker, and like you only see the back of his head. His name is Chuck. So like I give these stickers out on a trivia night that I do, but so you only see the back of his head. But he's a part of the live streams. I do some live streams on my channel as well, because it helps. Because I built a little community within. Like, my outside community is YouTube, and then my inside community, of course, is the community of Ascension Parish. So right. I have a community within a community. So I have my YouTube followers that half of them aren't even interested in real estate. They just happen to enjoy my videos.
They like you.
That's
right, the personality. So you mentioned skits, and that's one thing that you just jumped right in and went full speed with, creating literally like skit like videos, coming up with your own characters. Where did you get the idea for this, and how would you give the 30-second kind of like explanation of like why you even chose to do that to other YouTubers who are watching? Because it's not for everyone. And
no, but
yeah, so I think it's great, by the way.
Thank you. I just felt like, I hate a salesperson. Like, me personally, I hate being sold something. But nothing will make me stop and watch a commercial more than to laugh, like the feeling of laughter. And I'm like, how can I get people's attention to hear what I have to say and then make them laugh at the same time, so they'll come back and see what I'm going to say next. So I was like, well, I'm going to do this. So I did this one video. It was kind of just a spoof of what happens to us as real estate agents. It actually isn't even that great of a video, but it was funny for the time because nobody was really doing videos. And a website called The Lighter Side of Real Estate, which is also on Facebook. They have a big Facebook presence, their page. Actually picked up the video and posted it on Father's Day. And I was like, I knew I was on to something then. Like, if I can continue to make these videos, but make them entertaining as well, then people are going to continue to watch. So that's why I was like, I make infotainment. Like, I make informational that's entertainment. So people just watch it, because not even if they're interested in real estate.
I'm absolutely in that category. I've watched several of your characters and some of them, and I laugh, I cringe, I cry, and it's impressive what you've done. Because I mean, there's a lot of post-production, right? Like, you're playing a character, so you have to record both sides of it, and then you got to edit it all together. And again, you have a business that you're running and all of this. What has your brokerage, what has the company thought about your YouTube videos? Did you let them know right away up front? Did they find it? And like, has there been any interesting interactions there from the kind of corporate level of?
Yeah, actually, yeah, they're very supportive of anything different and that's cutting edge, and they understood it right away, because all of a sudden videos were starting to get more viral. Real estate videos were on YouTube, Facebook, and getting more viral. And they actually hit that first year I started, they came up with a video award, and I won it. And then they came up the next year, they had more video awards, and I won another one. So it was like, They do reward me. And then we have this, what they call it's a cloud brokerage. So I'm always asked very often to come in and speak to other real estate agents about YouTube, how to set up your channel correctly, how to use the right kinds of channel tags, what kinds of titles will work for your specific area. Because there's two kinds of content that you make. There's ones that are specific for your area, and then there's ones that you cast the net really wide. So I just talk about those things just to help people out when they're first starting out, if they're deciding to create videos. Because a lot of them have done them on Facebook, but they've never thought about YouTube. They thought YouTube is for cat videos and cooking or having to change your tire,
how to fix your washing machine or something like that. But ultimately, like YouTube videos do rank in Google, people are searching, and there's people who just use YouTube as their main search engine. I'm very curious, are you doing any coaching with other real estate agents? Like, it sounds like that's almost an evolution of what you're doing that's coming out. Like, that's really freaking cool.
Yeah, I have tinkered with the idea of creating a course. Because I really do think I can help. And there are some guidelines as us as real estate agents have to follow. And some people are putting out these videos and they're not following those rules, and
they're out of compliance.
Right. And they haven't got caught yet. But at some point you don't want to be the example that they make out of you. So
100%.
So there is some things that need to be done. And there is some ways that you can video structure to get your point across, and you can get it done, and the length of time. And I've just, because of my own analytics and studying YouTube, I've learned a lot of things that I could save them a lot of time on.
Totally. I mean, so what you're doing now, let's compare, right? So today, the videos that you're making, do you have like a series of shows where each week you kind of do XYZ, or every month you do these things? And then in the beginning, did you try anything in the beginning that you're not doing anymore? Any videos? Because there's a lot of testing that goes on in the beginning, and then eventually you find those few things that work and you just repeat those. So how do you break that down for any other kind of real estate agents and real estate folks?
Well, like you said, I was just kind of doing some videos and kind of see what stuck to the wall. I was doing a lot of like local interviews, which was a great way of interacting with other people in the community, but nobody watches them. Like, nobody watches them, just the people that you did the interview for. And then the people that, like, it's just those people, like no one ever watches them. And even if you do the greatest SEO in the world, I might get like 1 or 2 views. I'll leave those still up there because people will occasionally come across them. And it was like a weekly vlog that I did every Friday. I quit doing that. And then every Tuesday I do a Take a Tip Tuesday, where it's some kind of tip about real estate. And that's more of the more infotainment ones. I've kind of like taken a little break right now. I've been adding this listing videos because I kind of needed a breather, because I've not missed a Tuesday in 2 years since I started that. So I was like, I just need a little regrouping. So I've been just putting up listing videos on Tuesday, but I've never missed, there's always been a video on Tuesday. And then Thursday night, I do something for my actual YouTube community, which is I do a real estate trivia night. And it's a lot of fun. People come out, for all these different channels come out, and they try to win stickers, these little stickers. It's like, I ask real estate related questions. This week is all about famous divorce homes. So it's people that were famous, couples together, and their homes after they sold them, how much they sell for, how many square feet, little things about homes. I mean, I've done architecture of homes. It's just anything I can relate, any kind of topic. I don't care what I let the subscribers pick it, any topic, and I will change that into a real estate related questions, 20 questions. That's fun.
Awesome. And so that's pretty much, now that's your show, right? Like, so YouTube is a channel, just like ABC is a channel. And then on the channel, there's a few shows, and you've kind of got your little show list. And as those shows on major networks have seasons, they take breathing time in the off season, then they have a new season. You're giving yourself the freedom to do that. But ultimately, you've been extremely consistent, it sounds like that's one of the...
Absolutely. Never, not once. Like, that's my appointment. Like, I make an appointment for that time, and that's why it's at night. But the one last thing I do is on Sunday. I used to do open houses all the time, and I would sit there and I'd advertise them, and I'd sit there and I'd wait, and like, in Ascension Parish, open house is not a thing. It's just not. I know in other cities it is, but I mean, honestly, it's the biggest waste of my 2 hours of my life. So instead of doing that, I create a title like New Construction in Denham Springs, which is a local town here. live tour. So I take people on a live tour of the houses so they can ask specific questions. I can point out details. There's a lot of construction here in Louisiana that's totally different than other areas. So we have lots of discussions on that. So the people get to interact and ask a lot of questions. And even after those have published, that's actually did better than my vlog. Because people say, I know that area. I live right across the street from there. And so they start to recognize me. And then that stream right there is perfect for local
agents.
Local agents. If you can do a stream, it's like an open house Sunday. Like, I don't care what you name it, but just go through a house and point out everything you know about that house. You can point at the crown molding, you point at the HVAC system. I mean, I even go in the attic, and we have this radiant barrier in the attic, and I will have a rant for 10 minutes about the radiant barrier and how energy saving it is. And people love to hear that. And then it shows how knowledgeable you are about your profession.
Right. So you do these live. Do you have a target time? Are you shooting for like a 30-minute hour? Like, how long do those usually end up being? Roughly?
1 hour. 1 hour. Yep. Because if I did it 30 minutes, it's too short.
Right.
But if I do a 1 hour, it gives enough people time to pop in, ask her questions, pop off, and
got it. It leverages. And that's why you take the time to riff on the different things. You're now like, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of stay on this topic for a little bit, give people time to ask questions. There's also that delay in the comments. So are you doing this all on your cell phone?
It's really funny is I use my
cell phones now.
I use my cell phone a lot. The Tip Tuesday is with my camera, with good lighting and everything else, because it's a stage type of thing. But for my listing videos, I have a gimbal.
Gotcha.
I have a gimbal that's on my cell phone, and it records beautifully. I have I do a little voiceover on that. It really is nice. And then I do my live streams on my cell phone. And
that's brilliant.
But on Thursday night, I have a whole production of the real estate trivia night. I mean, there's animations. It's a thing.
If you're going to do it right, right?
I'm going to do it right. It's so funny that just here recently, how many people have tried in other channels, not in my niche, but that have tried to copy the trivia, and they'll say, "Hey, Christina, do you care that if I copy your trivia?" I'm like, go for it. Because I know how much work it is, and they'll do it for 2 weeks and they'll stop. And they do.
100%. And that's what I've seen. I've had people copy my entire channel, literally word for word, my titles, my descriptions, 100% copying my thumbnails. And they make it maybe 2 months, 4 months, and they quit and they give up because it's not in their heart. It's not their actual authentic thing. And I think that's one thing that you found quickly somehow.
Yeah.
You never, it doesn't seem like you try to be fake, like fake salespeople weird you out as they do most of humanity. Yet when a lot of people turn a camera on themselves and hit record, they try to be something different instead of being like, okay, I'm a little goofy. I'm just normal. Like, I just made that awkward. Like, and just letting it be what it is. Is that something that's just natural for you? Did you consciously think about this? Do you have any tips for other people who feel rigid on videos and want to bring more of their personality through?
If anybody looks back at my channel all the way, like from the first, excuse me, I'm so sorry. If anybody,
it's just a buyer who wants to buy a house. Nothing. We'll wait.
Sorry, they'll call back. If anybody looks back at my channel when I first started, the very first video I ever did was, I never had recorded anything. I had my cell phone. The lighting's terrible. I was very stiff. I was scared. I was terrified. Like, because people, it's a scary thing. People are going to judge you the minute you turn on that camera, and that's your mind and your thought process. I had to get that out of my head, because then when I started putting more videos on YouTube, and I tell people this all the time, like, when you first start putting videos on YouTube, nobody's going to watch them. So don't even think about it. You're not going to be a viral sensation your first video. Get that dream out of your head and just put them out there. Just keep doing it, and you'll get better and better and better and better. And the more I did it, the more I liked it. And I'm a big fan of Saturday Night Live. And so that kind of was my influence. I'm like, okay, there's really bad, horrible, funny people out there that just make you laugh because they exist. And so those were always like the people I use as characters. And then of course I'm the voice of reason of real estate agent. So
That's really smart because it plays into a bit of like pop culture. I mean, SNL
right.
has had a huge comeback. Like this year, actually, like SNL has had a huge comeback.
Mm-hmm.
Making people laugh is actually one of the most guard letting down things we can do. Like from a rapport building factor, that know, like, and trust factor, it really
Mm-hmm.
increases likability on a massive level. It's interesting to me, there's so many psychological things about what you did that are brilliant, and I think it was almost more of a byproduct of I'm going to start, and then B, following your fun. It just seems like what
Right.
was fun for you, you just kept doing more of what's fun, and you kept experimenting. And
Some people don't get it. There's some, you
oh,
know,
for sure.
and they'll say that I'm unprofessional and like I'm making fun of people, and that's not the case. I just wanted to make something that made people go, "Oh, she knows what she's talking about. That was really funny." You know, like I just feel like I always kept going back to commercials, you know, like, you know, Budweiser commercials, all those commercials, the ones that stay in your head are the ones that are funny.
Yep.
So I want to stay in your head.
Yep.
You know, like she knows what she's talking about. I've seen all the, you know, I've seen her Sunday streams. I've seen her, you know, Tuesday tip videos. Like she knows what she's talking about, but she's also really a lot of fun.
Right.
And I'm goofy. Like I can't pretend not to be goofy.
You could try it, just it wouldn't work. It would be goofy in your attempt to not be.
But I mean, like so robotic, you know.
Yeah.
And I have plenty of videos out there. Like I tried to do this like whole green screen thing where I was like almost like a newscaster. They're so bad. They're just not. They're just not me.
That's awesome.
But you gotta try, and you gotta experiment. You gotta be. You will find your way of making content. I think everybody has to find their own thing. You know, video may not be for you, then try blogging. If blogging's not for you, you know, you're gonna find your way.
Yep. And give yourself the permission to do things that don't work, to fall flat on your face, with the commitment to get back up and try something else, and just to like trust in the process, really.
I read your email out loud to my subscribers today.
Really?
Yes, I did. They were like, wow. Because you had talked about failure and how it's okay. You got to give yourself permission to fail, because the next thing coming could be the thing that really sets you apart. And you're going to fail, but you're going to, the quitters quit. You make a choice to quit.
Right.
But the people that succeed get up, and
we're all getting punched in our faces as entrepreneurs,
all the time.
As digital marketers. The trolls will show up for sure. It's what are you going to do about it? That's the question. How are you going to get back up, or are you just going to stay down? Because if you stay down, that's a choice, and that is the choice that quitters make, because that is quitting. Versus the choice to like get up, and like you said, like sometimes you gotta have a little hard talk with yourself and be like, you know what, you're better than this. You can do better than it. Like step it up, and ta-da.
Ta-da.
For 4 years, right?
Yeah, but that was honest to God, that was probably the best email. Like that was like so good.
Oh, thank you.
That was really good. People need to hear that. They do, because we all have, especially YouTube creators and people that aren't even in my same space, but we all kind of go through this spiel of like, you know, is my content good enough? You know, or, you know, what am I doing? You know, am I making a jerk out of myself? Is this what am I following my goal? Am I wasting my time? We have those moments of self-doubt.
Yeah.
And, you know, cause you have that failure moment and you're like, maybe this is the sign. This is the sign.
Yeah.
To quit. And, you know, like you'll make a sign out of something, you know, like, well, I had a sign that told me, you know, like this made me quit. You chose to look at that as a sign instead of moving forward. I thought it was brilliant. Brilliant.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. It's cool to hear. And so another kind of a tweak on that, or aspect of that is, and I'm sure you've seen this too, like YouTube's notorious for trolls, and you're putting yourself out there at such a level with some of these goofy creative skit videos. You have to get some feedback that hurts. Like literally it hurts. And as humans, like I can get 50, 100 positive comments, and that one troll that leaves that one comment, like that's all I focus on. In with all of this other stuff that's going on, that one negative voice seems to be louder than all of the positive voices. And I think it's a human trait, and it adds to that thing that you're saying of like that self-doubt, that kind of like mental chatter and conversation, which is I think that's the game personally. Like honestly, I don't care what industry you're in, what marketing thing you're using, I think it's that mindset. I think that's the make or break.
I don't know what book I read it in, or maybe it was even I heard it on a podcast, but somebody said if you don't have trolls, then you're not doing it right. And
100%.
they and one of the things like I love to do more than anything is that if somebody says something that's like, huh, is that I always like to click on their name and see what kind of like they're so brilliant. What do they got going on?
Zero. And it's
It's
always zero, right?
zero content, no subscribers.
Yep.
And then if they're like a real person, I try to like put a little, and I don't know. I don't put a lot into it.
Good.
But and the one thing that the top of the email that maybe clicked like really like read every word today was something about fake gurus. And I want to just kind of touch on that just a smidge.
Yeah.
We have so much noise in our industry of real estate that has so many fake gurus. And a lot of them are real estate agents that are selling you a slice of pie to make it sound easy.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing, not one thing is easy. And don't let them sell you a bill of goods that this is going to be the thing that gets you there unless you work hard. Period. There's no magic bot that's going to save your life. There is no virtual assistant that is going to make your career blow up. There's not one thing. It's a lot of things, and you have to try all of them.
Yep.
So don't buy into this sales funnel is going to be the only thing I need to make my life better.
It's so true.
It drives me insane. And everybody thinks they have the answers. And
well, real estate agents are huge targets too, right? Like you get
because we are money giving people. You will get $25 to $50 to death. It's only $25. It's only $50. And then you start getting your bill and you're like, what in the world?
What am I spending $7,300 on tech stuff? And none of it's working together. None of it's doing anything. And
right.
That's the potential creep. And, with your like 3% commission, possibly a 6% commission type thing, like the math is relatively easy to think like one commission away. There's also this other side of real estate where it's like, oh, I'm semi-retired. I'm just going to sell real estate now. I got my license. And like, there are just a lot of other agents who are thinking it's this passive side hobby thing versus,
right.
and real estate, like keeping a deal on tracks and dealing with humans on both sides of transactions and all the logistics. It is a brutal, there's a lot to do. There's a ton to do, not to mention keep your lead flow strong and keeping everything else going on. Yeah.
Residential sales is probably one of the toughest things.
It really is.
It is really tough because you're also dealing with human emotions on top of it all.
On the most expensive thing that most people will ever spend, with that one check that they're going to write, that's generally for most people, that's the largest check they're ever going to write, is that down payment check.
Right. And that has the reason why I became like, that's why I used that name, that branding name. When I first started and I was going to reinvent myself after I got out of that depression, I wanted a name that specified that I actually, like I really do care and you become my friend. Like my clients are not clients. They really are people to me. I know their kids' names. I know their dogs. I mean, like I care about these people, and I'm not. It isn't just lip service because you read all that garbage online, and I could write it all down, but you're like, here's another person like they care, big deal, But I really do.
Right.
So in order to get my brand name, I actually asked my clients. I'm like, give me 3 words that you would say are about me. Just 3 descriptive words that you would say are about me. And like, I got all these emails back that like, you care, you walked me through the process, you made me feel comforted, like all these things. And I'm like, what conveys that whisper? Like they had the dog whisperer. He's
totally.
And then the brand, there is plenty of the real estate whisperers, there's tons of them, but I wanted people to feel like I belong to them. So that's why I used yours, because I belong to you. Your real estate whisperer. I'm not the real estate whisperer. I'm not unattainable. I belong to you, So that's how I got my branding name, because I do
really
care.
Powerful.
Yeah. I mean, to me it is. And I mean it, like I can stand behind, I love the brand name. I'm glad that it came to me, because it honestly was like 4 hours of writing down all these different ideas of names that because I wanted something. I mean, of course, everybody's like, well, use your real name. And I'm like, I want to be like Pepsi.
Yeah.
Pepsi isn't called soda. It's called
Right.
Pepsi, you know?
Right.
I wanted something to be more than just my name.
Well, it's a brand, and it is also that idea of that's something that's bigger. And if you really think about it, in that process, you created kind of a brand name, but you also created like a brand philosophy at the same time. And your actions are in alignment with that. So when someone finds you and they watch all your videos, and there's funny ones, there's honest ones. I remember I saw one live stream you were doing on this investment property, and like your husband's like crawling under the house, and I'm like, damn, what is actually going on here? And like that shows that you care, that willingness to, and your husband's to get under there. What's that? Hold the camera close, right? Like that really reinforces that promise that you've made at the brand level. All very smart. And I wonder how much of that was conscious, or it's just been a flow of evolution.
That's just me. I like, I read all these books sometimes and I'm like, I do that already, but I don't think about it. I don't really think about it. And,
there's something called being a good person that some of us learned, right? And not to be a scammy, wannabe fake guru, and to like realize that my livelihood is 100% a reflection of how many people I help and how good I am at helping them. And then I just go forth like, how can I help these people? Whether that's a real estate problem or solution or need or desire or super Facebook internet marketing geekery, right? Like it doesn't really matter how that is, but it really comes from that standpoint of like give value first is really one of the big ideas.
Right. And a lot of times people will say to me, why do you tell everybody how you're doing this? I said, because they won't do it, first of all. And secondly of all, I lose nothing. I lose nothing by showing somebody what I did. It's a good way of collaboration. I feel like if you look at everything as competition, you're going to be very miserable. But if you look at everything as collaboration, you're going to feel good about what you're doing. And so I tell everybody everything I'm doing all the time. I have no issues. People call me from Canada, like everywhere around the country. I've had California, Florida. I mean, like these people call me and they're like, you're so willing to help. And I think in my industry that doesn't rare. Always. I think it's getting better. Honestly, I really do. But I find that there's a lot of people that are trying to sell people a bill of goods. Yep. And especially when it comes to like when you were doing a lot of those streams where you're showing people how to walk people through Facebook ads, I think they basically took your video and made it their own content and made that into real estate videos. Courses. Oh, and I'm like, they're spending $150 for something you could get for free online. Like why, like that blows my mind. That blows my mind. And I know that like, we're so busy as real estate agents that we don't know how to search for those kinds of things. So sometimes we do get stuck with buying these things and then we're overwhelmed because we can't ask the questions. And I'm always here to ask and answer questions. I'm a real person and I'm really wanting you to succeed and be helpful.
That's powerful. So let's run some basic data right now. Like, would you say, how has YouTube treated your business? Is your business today, whereas compared to, 2 years ago, it sounded like you were like considering giving up.
Oh, I totally gave up. Totally gave up.
I'm done with this.
I'm done with this. And then last year I had actually turned off because I was actually paying for internet leads. And last year I decided I'm not paying for internet leads anymore. I'm just going to do just my own advertising. I'm going to do this on my own. So last year was a little bit tougher, but I also kind of like, it was tougher in the fact that I was not doing a lot of my own personal real estate, but I was getting a lot of checks because I was sending out a lot of referrals. So, it wasn't like I didn't get paid. And then I was doing a lot of speaking engagements because people were seeing what I was doing on YouTube. And then I was doing a little bit of consultation work. So I was getting paid to consult with other real estate agents to show them how to set up their YouTube channels and how to get the leads and doing that kind of stuff, the warm one-on-one kind of thing.
Interesting. So that's a much more, because one of the things in the real estate world is feast or famine.
Right.
3 deals went through this month. Hey, let's go look at a new car. And then like 3 months of no deals. And it's like, oh, Jesus. Like, what happened? Is everything okay? Did the world break? Like, I mean, that is the real estate thing. So to hear that you've got this kind of more diverse foundation of cash flow, like from a business standpoint, from a pure CEO standpoint, that is awesome. How many subscribers do you have at this point?
I think I'm like just a smidgen away from 2,000, just a smidgen, which is a really, doesn't seem like a big number, but in the real estate, like I'm telling you, go look on real estate channels. They don't have, they barely have 100.
I think it's huge.
Okay.
2,000 where you're at. And I think there's a huge lesson here for most people. So many people think that it requires, like they look at the vanity metrics. They see that Gary Vaynerchuk's now at 1.7 million subscribers and yada, yada, yada. And Miles is over here at this many subscribers, and they start comparing, and it becomes a purse fight or a sword fight, whatever you want to call it. And it's the wrong metric because it's about the depth at which you create the relationships. When my list was only 3,500 subscribers, I won an affiliate contest over people who have over 100,000 people on their list. And that's the part that so many people don't get, is that it's about how much impact you're having on your people. And 1,000 real true fans who really are true fans. That's
right.
Not 1,000 like, oh, I'm just going to buy 1,000. Okay, I got my 1,000 subscribers. No, I bought them from a click farm in Bangladesh. Like, no. Like real people who care about you, who want to pop in to see how your kids are doing, who laugh at your husband's awkward jokes or sports comments that you're like, I don't do sports, right? Like those people who care about those, you only need 1,000 of them. And literally it can revolutionize a business in a major way.
Right. And I want to talk a little bit about vanity metrics, because in my real estate business, people are so obsessed and they're so pigeonholed into thinking that Facebook is the only way. And they'll say to me, but my video on Facebook got 10,000 views. And I'm like, okay, let's really break this down. Your 10,000 views, how many of them were 3 seconds long? Yep. And how many people actually stayed to the end? And how many leads did you get from that 10,000, what you think is 10,000 views? I said, now let me show you my analytics for my YouTube video that only has 138 views. And let me tell you how many times my phone is ringing from that one video.
Yep.
Did your phone ring from that 10,000 views? No.
Yep.
I said, you're looking at it so wrong. You're so like the likes and the shares and all that stuff make you feel good. Right. But it's not going to put money in your pocket. This is something,
ding, 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 ding,
ding, ding, ding. There's all these companies that are like, we can help your Facebook business page. We're going to put all this content on there for your Facebook business page so you have more interactions. I'm like, I don't need likes and shares and I need people to freaking call me. Yeah. And that's, I don't know. It gets
qualified people who know where you're at, what you're talking about, to call you, right? Like those are people who, like any tire kickers, anybody who's just in research phase, watch the videos. Like it actually is a sorting kind of mechanism for you in that sense. And there are so many people who get caught. I call it the shadow work. They do busy work. They feel like, I put my video on Facebook. I was on Instagram all day. I did this, that, the other, but those actions don't actually create the phone calls that actually create the leads, that actually create the contracts that actually pay for your rent, because we all have to do that at some point. And that's really the CEO level.
Yep. They'll justify it. They justify it by saying, well, I'm doing it for brand recognition. And yep. I'm like,
you enjoy that. I'm paying bills. I'm filling up like my kids' college accounts.
Right. Like I haven't really got anybody call me from it, but right. People really saw it. And then another thing that they do, which this is what really blows my mind, that a lot of them will say, well, I got 60,000 views on this video. And then it will show like 137 shares. And then you can kind of see where they shared it. Well, they shared it to other real estate groups. They weren't even clients. Right. They just shared it to other. So you're trying to advertise to other real estate agents that you make these other videos. Again, another vanity metric. They just wanted that, I had a viral video.
Yep.
Who cares?
Right.
Who cares? If you didn't make any money from it, who cares?
It's all about the deal flow. And there's those people. So we went through the process on a house, and the guy we found, he's mid 60s. He showed up wearing a button up. When I called him to see a house he had listed, he was like, I just got out from under the crawl space on a past client's house. I was helping her with something, so I'm a little dirty. I was like, my man, show up, let's see. And this dude, he like no flash, no shiny, showed up in an F-150 pickup. This dude was an absolute pro. He knew it was so refreshing to work with a guy. He kept that deal on track. He saved me money left and right. And man, to find those kinds of pros who don't focus on the hoopla and the BS, but focus on what actually matters. That's a big thing in real estate. And I think a lot of people who look for those houses can tell when they find somebody who's doing a detailed walkthrough live, one after another. They can look back at the other ones. Their confidence in this person's going to represent me correctly. This person's going to make sure my deal. This person's going to help me find a home, not a house, not something that's going to fall apart. Like, they're going to help me at every phase.
I think a trick to that is that never look at the commission. You never look at the commission amount ever until the day you have to review the HUD. And then you make sure the numbers are correct, because that way you represent that person as fairly as you would that's buying a $60,000, mobile home that's buying $1 million house over here. Right. Never look at the commission amount.
That's being a pro. Right. Because that's not what it's about. That's not what it's about. It's about helping that individual solve the problem, achieve the goal, whatever that, because there's kind of two sides, right? But it's really about being of service to that individual. And when that's the leading factor, and that, it just goes like, that's where word of mouth comes from. That's where, so the average person lives in the same house for what, 5 years, 6 years. They remember you, they like you. They do not consider the people who are direct mailing them, because they know Christina's my gal. If and when something happens, hubby got transferred to a new station, I got to sell this place, boom, like no questions. Like, and they're probably already connected with you, and they made it easy, and they can just go pop on. When they start thinking about it, they can go pop on YouTube, be like, she's still doing her thing. Oh yeah, still doing her thing. Ha ha ha. Get that moment. So, what tip, if you were able to go back to, year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when you had started doing your videos, what tip would you give yourself a couple of years ago that you now know that you think would have accelerated the path?
I would have learned how to title a video a lot better.
Okay. Go deeper. This is I love hearing that. So
I would have learned to title a video a lot deeper and a lot better. And I've actually even I'm still learning this myself, because the videos at work, and I tell this in my classes, are the 5 tips to buying a house in like Orlando, 5 great ways that buyers can save money in Orlando. Home buyers can, like those are still good. But I found that if you make a title that makes people like, what does this mean? Like, do this now or you'll lose money on your sale. Oh, what that not
curiosity.
Right, the curiosity. And then tying that in with a thumbnail that makes like me pointing to something, or it gives it some kind of expression, some kind of emoji of like, oh my God, or whatever, that will make them click a lot better than just like throwing up a picture of your, like that you use on your business cards, going like this, with your phone number on it and some random house and your company's logo on it. People get confused. They'll use their business card as their thumbnail, and you can't even read the font on that. There's a lot of mistakes that people make, but and I made them too. My thumbnails are terrible, and I didn't realize how incredibly important that little tiny freaking picture is. Yep. And so, like, even a year ago, I had like a different use of my branding colors, and then I flipped it around, and they're super bright, they're super like in your face, but it makes people want to click. And that's what made that girl click that was in Germany, is that she saw this bright pink thumbnail in her Google feed, and she's like, what's that? And she clicked it. She didn't even know what the video was about. She just knew that it was bright and it was pink, and she wanted to see what it was.
And if you think about Google, it's a plain white page with black text and blue links, and they've got their colors, I think, on their brand name and down at the bottom on the numbers. And that's like all the color on the page. So number one, you're attracting the eyeball with color, and your colors speak clearly to your demographic. Do you have, I'm totally curious, do you do more deals with men, women, families? Or who's that first call that usually calls you? Is it the hubby or the wife?
I it is a 50-50 mix. I don't
Gotcha.
have one more than the other, I wouldn't say. I've worked, it's always funny to me though. Every deal that I do, it's always one person that's running the show.
100%.
It's so funny because you can have one deal and it's you talk solely to the wife. The husband's like, I'm just here to pay for things.
Yep.
And then you have the next deal, the husband, like, you know, she'll show up, you know, like she picked up the house, but I run the show. So it's always every single deal is different.
Somebody got to make dinner and do dishes, and the other person gets to put the real estate deal together. So
yeah, it is stressful. So I think one person takes on that like stress, you know, but they don't realize they're working with me, and I take the stress away.
That's it. You're the whisperer. But I think that, so capturing the attention with color, bright color, to stand out, make sure that your thumbnails are standing out compared to what else is showing up. And then the title, that curiosity, you know, opening loops. Have you ever gotten hooked into a show like Lost or 24 or there's some new, like Game of Thrones? I haven't been through that one at all, but like when they open loops, right? And you're actually in a title, you're able to open a loop. Like, oh, if I don't click on that, I might lose money. We have a loss aversion mechanism inside of our human brains that makes it impossible once that loop is opened. And you did that. That loop was opened by your title. It's impossible for them not to watch that video to figure out what they might miss out on, because the fear of missing out is 10 times stronger than the fear of gaining whatever that is, you know.
One of my videos that actually got me a listing was the secrets that the home sellers need to keep. And the thumbnail has, it's a pretty big thumbnail, and it has a zipper across my lips. And I'm like zip it, you know? And that got me a listing, a really good one too.
And the psychology of that is absolutely brilliant, right? Because it's like people who are about to sell their house, and, you know, real estate transactions are huge. So it's something most people are thinking about and researching several months before they reach out with someone. And they're wondering, like, what do I need to tell them about this? Like, do I have to put that on the seller disclosure or not? And like, do I have to have that fixed? And they're thinking these types of questions. So when they find your video that has that kind of an imagery and title, they're like, my girl, she gonna let me know whether I'm good or not. And then it increases the comfort level. And then they're like, I can trust her. I'll just give her a call and ask her, because she didn't maybe cover it exactly in mind, but I'm gonna give her a call because she obviously knows what she's talking about.
Right. And I've helped several people that are not from my area. They happened upon my video and they're in a situation that was like, I had one where I was like, how to break up with your real estate agent. And then they were in a deal, and they really wanted to break up with their real estate agent. And so I gave them really good advice. And then they contacted me back, and they were like, everything worked out, and we were able to, you know, move to another real estate agent. And I want to thank you for your help. I mean, that's the kind of thing that that made me absolutely no money whatsoever. And it took time out of my day, but I made somebody's life a little bit better. And that feels good. And that feels so much better than a freaking like on Facebook or a share on Facebook or that 60,000 views that no one cares about. You know, like that to me, it was like, I helped somebody. I didn't want anything in return. And it will come back to me at some point in life. That's how I look at it.
Karma is so real for sure.
I just feel like just putting out good stuff.
That's it.
Put it out. You know,
I had an old boss. I used to sell cars through the internet. We would sell cars all over the world. I was in Albuquerque, and he would say, he said it was an Einstein quote, and I don't know if it was, but you tickle it over here and it laughs over there. And he's like, you just give some energy to something, do something good over here, and just all of a sudden something lines up for you over there. And just, it was like a philosophy that he really instilled. And I've seen it work so many times over. And I use the phrase that karma's only a bitch if I am, right? So if I'm cool, karma's going to be cool. Like, awesome. Let's just go be cool and give lots of value. And I think my whole platform is a testimonial of that willingness to just give what other people charge $400 to $2,000 for. I'm just going to give it all away. And like, people are like, oh, I want to send you a donation. Like, no. Like, oh, you should put ads on so I can watch your ads. Be like, no, I'm good. Like, we're good. There's a greater connection between all things that I personally believe in. And I'll just trust in that. And like, just give me a share if you want, you know, just hit that thumbs up type thing.
I actually do have my monetization on my channel.
Awesome.
And I do have, it's because I had to do these live streams, and people were sending me gift cards through Amazon.
Right.
And I was like, this is so bizarre. And so like, they were saying, turn on, like my subscribers told me to turn on the super chats. And they're like, you're monetized, turn them on. I'm like, okay. They want to do that.
Oh, the super chat that allows them to pay to get their. I haven't tried that.
A super chat is just like when you're doing a live stream. There's a little number sign, and someone could it's almost like a tip or something, but they're really doing it because they like you, they enjoy you, they know that this is not exactly the cheapest thing to do in the world, and they appreciate your time. So they're just giving you a little something. They're not going to buy a house for me. They're there to play a game, and they just sort of like, yay,
That's brilliant.
I know, it's fun. And they get to make their little comments in there. I had this guy that was on there last week, and his comment kept getting removed. So in order for him to get his comment through, he actually did a super chat.
That's awesome. There you go.
I said, now I have to read it. If he went through all that just to get his comment read, we have to read it.
And so my wife has on her channel, which is about similar size as mine, but she gets even more views. She has monetization turned on. So we do turn it on. The reason I have it off on mine is the number of fake guru products out there. Like, my audience is so ripe for the picking for the secret funnel software that you don't do anything, an AI sales letter product that's like $2,000. I have to shield them from it. So it's like, I'm willing to take a little bit of, it's not that much money.
It's pennies.
It's literally, people don't realize it would maybe be $250 to $300 a month, and it just does not move the needle in my business for exchanging of giving the attention of my audience who I care about dearly, and I want to steer them in the right direction. Give the attention of them to those fake gurus. It doesn't match there. But on a lot of other platforms, I think it makes great sense, because a real estate buyer, right? Like, there's the odds of them seeing a highly relevant ad from your competition are zero, because nobody knows how to.
There are a lot of Zillow ads. It's like, there's a Zillow ad, there's a Realtor.com ad, there's an apartments ad.
Perfect. And that's, let it be, because that doesn't actually, there's no real conflict on that. So I want to do one more thing before we go. Sure. I really appreciate you. So first of all, before we get in that last thing, where can people find you?
I'm on many social media platforms. I'm still Your Real Estate Whisperer. So if you're on YouTube, it's Your Real Estate Whisperer. On Instagram, I'm that. On Facebook, I'm that. And then on Twitter, you can just type in your and then Whisperer, and that's me on Twitter.
Perfect. I'll make sure all those links are in the description. And everyone, if you made it this far, how have you not subscribed yet? She's almost at 2,000. Let's send her over the 2,000 mark. Subscribe. You will get so many creative ideas. But the last thing I wanted to do was, if you could break down what you think starting new because this is only for people who made it to the end, right? We got real estate people on here who maybe left earlier. If you were to break down a game plan for a new real estate person or an old school head who wants to just embark on the digital marketing, what would the 3-step, 5-step, what would that process be for someone new? What would you tell them to
First of all, I feel like right now, if you're a new real estate agent or an older real estate agent and you've kind of fallen off the wayside as far as technology, this is a perfect opportunity, because nobody else is doing what I'm doing right now. There isn't enough people. You have the perfect opportunity to rank on Google and be in several pages that no one else is doing. You are right on the cusp. When everybody else was getting websites and you're like, oh, wait on that, and then you lost traction, this is the time to do it right now. Pick up your cell phone and just talk into the camera and be as sincere as possible, and just say something that will bring value to the person that you're trying to speak to. Get yourself, there's very many free sites that talk about SEO that will help you with finding the keywords, and make sure you write a good description of your video with using those keywords, just like blogging. And then make a title that somebody's going to want to click on. You'll figure out the whole thumbnail thing over time. Go to Canva. They've got some templates. Canva's free. Use the free templates. Use your branding colors. Over time, that will grow. But just pick up your camera. Make a nice little description at the bottom. Make sure that you put your name, your company's name, your company's address, and all of your contact information in there, including your license number. So that way you're in compliance. And always, always, always use that fair housing symbol at some point in your video.
So that's some very specific things, because this is advertising theoretically, and that's where the compliance is. There's some compliance. So really, it's the just start approach in many senses. It's everyone watching this, you got a laptop, you got a cell phone in your pocket that's got a great camera. It's a freaking supercomputer.
I still use I use this all the time. I use it all the time.
That's it. And it's more about the willingness to show up and to give value. And if you're not an old head in real estate and you haven't done 75 transactions or 100 transactions, so you don't know the bits and pieces of that super well, maybe you can be the person who's willing to go talk about the different parts of your community, the different schools, the different, like the other aspects of real estate that people care about, the live walkthroughs, the walkthroughs of the houses. That information is there, and those old heads that are happy collecting leads from all of the relationships they built over the last 20 years, they don't have the ambition to show up and detail every single open house on video, where buyers are probably looking around on YouTube and Google trying to find videos and trying to learn more about the open houses in their area.
Nobody wants to leave their house anymore. Nobody wants to leave their house. So if they can go through a virtual tour, ask their questions right there and then. And
nobody wants to leave their screen. I would even go as far as saying nobody wants to leave their screen. Like just literally, like I just want it to show up on this little thing. And like, why can't I just go look at every house in my neighborhood on this? And the reason is because no local agent has gone and created that content yet.
Right. And I would also say too, if you're going to start a channel, specify your, like, you can really niche down even a real estate channel. So if you wanted to be a real estate channel just about foreclosures, golden. If you wanted to be a real estate channel just about short sales, golden. That is good stuff. You can make lots and lots of content just revolving around that kind of thing. But I want to warn people, because they have this illusion, because they think that this is a social media site, so they start putting pictures and videos of their kids' baseball game alongside the video that they just made about a short sale. You're looking at it incorrectly. It's just like ESPN. If you were turning on ESPN and all of a sudden the jewelry, they're trying to sell you jewelry, you're like, what the heck is going on ESPN? It is just like a channel on a television. Stay specific, stay on purpose, and you stay focused on that niche. You will win.
Yep. And you'll figure it out. You're gonna hit bumps. You're gonna fall down. You're gonna get punched in the face. You're gonna fail, and you're just gonna keep showing up, and you'll get better at it.
Yeah.
And I think one of the other things that you didn't mention explicitly, but came through repeatedly here, is follow your fun. Let you shine through, whatever that is. And if you're super analytical and that's you, great. Learn how to use that super analytical side of you to detail the numbers and the deals and how well those work. If you're artistic and just do you, because when it becomes fun, and like Christina, I mean, you brought your family into it at this point, right? Like you're creating content, which is marketing work. You're hanging out with your girls. You're hanging out with your hubby. You're like just wandering around. It's such a beautiful expression of like a life well lived. That is all giving value to people who, man, it freaks people out. Like, real estate deals are emotional. They're heavy. They're big. I think it's just really cool what you built. I'm impressed.
My youngest daughter likes to wear the wigs, and then she gets to be like, she could be that snotty girl that she has in that school that she doesn't like. She could act that person. So she loves that. She's like, oh, I know who I'm going to be this time, So she gets to be that obnoxious kid that nobody likes, but she gets to play like she's actually acting out somebody that she actually knows. So she actually is really good. My youngest child, that she's going to be great. Whatever she does.
Well, and this is where it gets really, really interesting to me, is for them to see their mom embrace this technology. Like, you didn't grow up with the internet. You didn't grow up with cell phones, right? Like for you to embrace this, whereas they're from the connected age. Like they're
super highway.
Literally, like they probably grew up in the age of iPads, not just internet, which is the age of screens. So like, you're setting them up with some really cool kind of mindset stuff, but B, like the willingness to go like create videos is now nothing to them. We had a family friend come out and visit, and he was 12 and was like, what do you want to do when you grow up? He's like, I want to be a YouTuber. What? Like, really? And I was like, have you ever made a video? He was like, no. And it was like, we're making a video. We did a vlog of a hike here in town. And he was just blown away by it. And it was like, wow, the world has changed. And you're really empowering your daughters in a major way, which I think the ripple effect of that, I think the 20, 30 years down the line of that, you're going to look back and think like, wow, I didn't really see all of that happening from this, but it is all kind of connected in a cool way.
Well, I think even just sitting here talking to you was something I couldn't have imagined 2 years ago, because you were the guy on the other screen that knew way more than I did about Facebook advertising. And then here we are just having a conversation talking
That's
about my
awesome.
advertising. So
Yep.
it's like it all comes back.
It does. It does. And it is because, and this is a perfect final note, is because you followed through and you kept getting back up and you didn't
Yep,
quit, and it was hard and it's a pain in the ass and
it
shit doesn't work the
is.
way you want it to.
Nope.
And dogs are barking and dinner's burning and the editor's not working. And yep, welcome to our world. You kept
Yep.
showing up.
Yeah, that Final Cut Pro for some reason will not render a video all of a sudden. You're like, what is going on?
And I'm committed to uploading today. And
It's going to happen. I've been up at 4 o'clock in the morning going, I don't know what else to do. And I'm on the phone with Apple. And like the guy at Apple was so nice and he got it to work. I was like crying, thank you so much. And I even got my closed captions done on time. And that thing got right on time, right out on time. I was like,
yeah. This is a side that people don't get, right? They look at the numbers, they look at the vanity metrics, they look at what you've accomplished, and they forget that it was, 2 years is what, 670 days, 770 days of like every day. It's a challenge.
Mhm.
And you just keep showing up and you get better at it, and we have fun and we share. Thank you so much for
Fun.
your time. I really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
definitely have fun. You definitely have fun, because if you don't have fun, you're not going to end up doing it anymore.
What is the point?
Yeah. Yeah. And I really enjoy it. I didn't even know I was going to be something I enjoyed as much as I do, but I love it. I really do love it. It's fun.
It gets addicting, and once you're there, you're in the flow, and the next 3 to 5 years of your business, of your life, it's going to be amazing. And I'm grateful I was able to help you on that path, and I look forward to seeing where this goes.
Thank you, Mr. Miles Beckler.
Cheers. Well, thank you for joining me, Christina, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, obviously give it a thumbs up, give it a share. If you know any real estate people or real estate groups, grab the URL, send it out into the Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups, whatever you do. I appreciate any engagement, and be sure to go to her YouTube channel, link below, Your Real Estate Whisperer, and subscribe. Give her a thumbs up. Check out some of her skit videos. I'll link to at least 1 or 2 skit videos in the description of this one. I thank you. I look forward to connecting with you on the next video, and until we meet again, be well.